I mean, if I could use a word, it's disgusting, to be honest. Just like, to see the apathy, like when you look at the politicians, at those leaders, aren't they embarrassed? Aren't they embarrassed that the people from their country have to run away and be humiliated in other countries? Like, don't they, like, I don't know, like, aren't they ashamed that they're doing their job so badly that their own people have to go through these things? I mean, I don't know. Like, for me, it really, I don't know. It hits a nerve, to be honest. I mean, Bolivia has its own history, but I don't think my government has ever been like that. I mean, I think governments in Latin America historically have, follow certain agendas, more following their own economic interests rather than that of the people and the well-being of the people. But what's happening in Mexico is just a whole new level, like they're really...
43 students are missing. Nobody knows where they are. We know that this was a state crime because the police were involved at the municipal, but also at the federal level. So the government is to blame for a lot of this, and that is not the kind of government we would want to have in Mexico, and that is not the government that we want the United States to support through foreign aid.
Like, you have parents that are traveling tirelessly, like being contagious, and as they say, they're planting seeds, and then you see those seeds flourish, With the students at U of R, we were saying, like, it's the Mexican Spring, not because it's making a reference to the Arab Spring necessarily, but because we really do believe that we are those seeds, and that we will flourish, and that we will be that spring.
So Raúl Isidro Burgos Rural Teachers College in Ayotzinapa, Mexico, is a school that takes kids from the lower socioeconomic class, and the point of doing that is to educate the lower classes so that they become, I guess, in the eyes of the higher class, more apt to society. And I think that the socioeconomic class, because these schools are being found all throughout Mexico. A lot of these schools are revolutionary schools. They produce revolutionaries and social activists within Mexico, and they have a voice in Mexico because they are educated. And I don't think that the higher classes, higher economic classes in Mexico like that. I don't think the government likes that either, because they have to start responding to these voices.
The pin that I'm wearing is of a woman named Rosario. Her name is Rosario Ibarra. The person here is her son. Her son has been missing since the dirty war in Mexico since the 70s. And this woman, together with several other women whose family members were missing and disappeared by the Mexican government, they formed the Eureka Committee, right? So the struggle for the disappeared in Mexico is a historic struggle that we've had for the last 40 years, right? So it is, I think, it's a very important struggle to continue to fight. We cannot let the disappeared or those who have been kidnapped by the government or who are in military bases, because of her struggle, of Rosario Ibarra's struggle, we realized that the Mexican government had secret jails in military barracks where they would conduct torture to force people to accept false confessions against them, right? So this is an issue that goes deep into Mexican history. It's a dark issue of the dirty war of the Mexican government, and this is nothing new. If you look at the way the Mexican government has repressed social movements or peasant organizations, this is nothing new.
Desde que empezó esta lucha para encontrar a sus hijos, ¿cuáles han sido las victorias que ustedes han logrado desde septiembre hasta ahora?
Pues la victoria que hemos logrado es la unión de las personas, porque de búsqueda, de encontrarlo, no hemos encontrado nada. El gobierno no nos da nada. La victoria mayor sería que nos entregaran a nuestros hijos, encontrarlo.
Desde su punto de ver, pelear por esta causa, ¿la cree simbólica para como representar todo lo que ocurre en México?
No me cree simbólica, porque yo lo que lucho es por la vida lucho. Vida de 43 muchachos que se llevaron, y por eso luchamos nosotros. Muy triste, fue un golpe muy duro para mí y para mi familia.
Nada más te quería preguntar, si no le molesta, describir qué tipo de persona era su hijo? ¿O es su
No,
hijo?
no me molesta porque yo sé la clase de persona que es mi hijo. Él es un niño muy estudioso. Él tenía muchas ganas de salir adelante, de ser doctor, pero la pobreza, pues que uno pasa allá, eso no nos dio la posibilidad para que mi hijo estudiara para doctor, pero se metió a la escuela normal y ahí le pasó esto, lo que le pasó. Pero él tenía muchas ganas de él ser alguien en la vida. Y a mí eso es lo que a mí me da más coraje y una rabia tremenda, que por querer ser alguien en la vida mi hijo lo hayan desaparecido, se lo hayan llevado. Es lo que más me da coraje.
Mexicans are tired of the government, and the cartels are one and the same at this point. We can't tell where the line ends between the cartel and the government, right? The lines are so blurry that sometimes it's the same people, the same families that control a city are also in the cartel. And that was the case in the town of Iguala, where the students were disappeared. So this issue brought together what people are tired of, which is cartel and the government collusion, but also the fact that it's an attack on public education, right? An attack on these students. These are students that have been fighting for their education system, and the attack on these students is an attack on teachers and public education, because these students were going to study to be teachers. So this issue resonated in Mexican society deeply, because it is an issue that has touched many levels of what we are fed up with, right? And I think it has set off I think it has taken off the mask of the Mexican government, that it was a government that it was going to bring change. We don't think so. It's bringing more of the same. More disappearances, more organized crime, more poverty, more underfunding of schools. So this issue of Ayotzinapa, I think, has brought people out to fight against all of that.
In this cause, in fighting for this cause, how do you feel like anyone can get involved?
Well, that was actually a question that was asked many times to the parents, that they asked over and over again. And the answer is the same, organize. And I think the parents are not saying just organize for us, no, I think the parents are saying organize for yourselves. Because in the future, your ability to organize is what's going to determine your strength as youth in claiming things and protecting each other's rights and whatnot. So that was the lesson that we took. And that's how, after the parents left, we decided that we wanted to organize. That's how we created our own social media movement, Plan Juan Oliver. We created a hashtag. We've been trying to move around, I mean, it's our first try. We're young at this, I guess, but it's the exercise. Again, it's a muscle.
These parents come up here, they tell their story, and it's something that's tragic, like I said, but it's also inspirational in the sense that you see these parents in a completely different country that has been one of the main reasons and beneficiaries of all this war on drugs, all this economic reshaping of Mexico. And to know that, if people are getting killed left and right in Mexico for speaking out, imagine the parents who are going across the US, across Latin America, across Europe, what they can face when they get back to Mexico. I mean, I'm sure many of them know that they'll probably have crosshairs on their head, targets on their backs. So not only must we, like I said, support them, but I think even moving forward, we have to fight for their protection.
I do hope that they do feel the strength and the energy that we're trying to send, and that we do believe that this is not just for Mexico, that is just for everyone.
Encontrar a mi hijo con vida. Eso es lo que me motiva, porque yo sé que están vivos. No hay ni una prueba que digan que están muertos. Y esa es mi lucha, y yo sé que mi hijo está vivo y lo voy a encontrar. Yo quiero mandar un mensaje a mi hijo, si me está escuchando, si me está viendo, que donde quiera que esté, nosotros, yo, su papá, andamos luchando por él. Quiero que sepa que nosotros no nos vamos a quedar con las manos cruzadas, y hoy tiene 7 meses que se los llevaron. Y discúlpeme, pero me siento muy mal yo, porque mi hijo es lo que más quiero en la vida. Y por ti, mi hijo, andamos acá y lo vamos a lograr si Dios quiere. Vas a regresar a casa y con tus compañeros también. Te amo, mijo.
I want to tell my son that he's going to return home. He's going to return home along with his classmates, and that I love him, and that his dad and I are looking for him.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you mind if we get a close-up of the sign, of his face?
Go ahead and get this.
You mind getting a close-up? Yeah, get a close-up of it if you can.
We need to end the war on drugs. It's spent trillions of dollars. We've locked up millions of poor Black and Latino people and poor whites as well. It has led to nothing. We've gotten nothing out of it. We haven't gotten a step closer to eradicating the use of drugs in this country, and all those drugs that come into this country flow from Latin America. Latin America and what's happening in Mexico is something that's been happening in Colombia for decades. It's something that's going to be happening in Central America, and it gives an opportunity for the U.S. to continue their involvement and intervention militarily and politically into these countries, not allowing these folks and these communities and these countries to shape their own destinies, their own communities and their own aspirations and achieving them. So yeah, I think we have to keep on. Even if we don't necessarily win, we have to keep on nonetheless. We have to.